Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is the latest in a very short line of Star Wars games made by EA. My name's Mike Williams, this is Liam McKelvey.
Hello.
We've both been playing it quite a bit since it came out on Friday, so it's been a few days at the time we're recording.
Had a good weekend with it.
Yeah, it's had to contend with Pokemon with you a little bit.
Yes, I've been able to split my time.
Yeah.
It's like Sophie's Choice, but not nearly as life-threatening or high stakes.
Yeah,
but,
it's quite an enjoyable Sophie's Choice. I've played quite a bit of it. I mean, it's quite a straightforward, pretty linear game in its own way. There's lots of freedom in there, but I like a game that I can sort of tick off and get through, and like, I've done that planet, I've done that area, and a big theme in the game is like progress. How many things have you opened, and how much of it literally tells you what percentage of the area you've explored and shit like that. What did you make of the game? Like, after the first few hours, what was your first impression?
How long have I played? I think I've played it about 7 hours.
Okay.
And I do quite like it. Combat is very satisfying. Just, it feels good to swing the lightsaber.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is like the animation and the sound. That helps a lot with just the lightsaber combat.
It's good, isn't it?
It felt immediately familiar when I started playing it, because it takes bits and pieces from other games and then combines it into like type thing. I saw someone call it a smoothie of other games, and that's quite an appropriate way to describe it, because there's a bit of Sekiro in there, a bit of Dark Souls, bit of Uncharted, even a bit of Metroid Prime, if you want to go back to the GameCube days.
It's interesting that you've done that, because I've not read much about the game at all, and we haven't talked about it yet, and that is exactly how I feel about it. Like, it's a big mishmash of stuff. And, it even reminds me of things like Jak and Daxter and like the Lego games and stuff, how it's like, well, you come back in a little bit and maybe you'll be able to open this door, or
a lot of backtrack. That's what gave me the Metroid feel, especially because it's got like that 3D holo map, which I'm pretty sure that's like straight out of Metroid Prime on the GameCube.
I love that map. It's amazing.
It's so detailed.
It's the level of control you've got and how clear it is, and they've done a lovely job all around. Yeah. I think my overriding feeling when I started playing it was, firstly, I was just really, really happy that it existed as a game to talk about, because it's a linear... I keep saying linear, but it's not that linear, but it's a single-player, third-person Star Wars game that makes you play as a Jedi. And also, I was really happy that you're just a Jedi. Like, it doesn't say at the beginning, you're the chosen one, or you're Darth Vader's fucking right-hand man or whatever. Yeah. You're just a Jedi.
There's no, like, grand scheme for you, really. You're literally just one of the last remaining Jedi.
Yeah.
And you coincidentally stumble upon this quest.
Exactly, and I really, really like that. I really like the premise and the setup. I don't know how long I've played. I hesitate to put a number on it, but I've completed, or I've done 5 areas, including the opening chapter, opening tutorial thing, which is like a lot of story setup and stuff. And I feel like I've got through a lot. The game's got a lot of surprises tucked up its sleeve, which we won't spoil, but at any point I felt like, I would quite like a few more abilities or something. It's really good at giving you that drip feed of abilities and things to do, but also in the middle of that, some genuine like, oh, that's cool, that's like a nice surprise, and they've done a good job in the marketing and stuff and keeping that sort of thing quiet. What do you think of like the environment and level design? I feel like all the planets feel totally different.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, it's got to the point where it started sending me back to planets I've already been to.
Yeah, me too.
With my new abilities to, like, open up previously unexplored areas.
Hence the Lego thing for me.
Hence the Lego thing, yeah. And so it feels like when you've been to a planet, once you've left it for whatever reason, like you finished your mission on it or whatever, it feels like, is this all the planet has to offer? But then you go back to it with your new power, you open up a new area, and it's like a completely different environment. So I think the one I was like, it was like big green, like lush valleys. Yeah. But I went back to a new area, it was like ice caves and snow drifts and stuff like that. And this is on the same planet, but at first appearance, they seem like a bit, so this is a snow planet, this is a desert planet, this is like the fauna planet. But no, when you get sent back and go to the new areas, it opens up big time. It's like, I think there was a big lake on one planet that I got to swim around and explore. So yeah, there's like quite a lot of variety to them. Yeah. It's good.
Yeah, I think the gameplay's got plenty of variety as well. And everything I keep saying about this game and everything I keep thinking boils down to the fact that Respawn they're a good team. Like they're good at they're good at thinking everything through. And there's nothing in this game that feels lazy or half baked for me anyway. And everything is at least good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the gameplay, they do a great job of giving you like there's a lot of traversal in the game, a lot of running, a lot of like Uncharted style climbing. That's the other big influence for me as well, is Prince of Persia. Like
Yes,
the
I can see
2005 or whatever year it was, in the way the game balances like solving puzzles, running around, running from A to B, running along walls, and then doing a bit of fighting.
Yeah.
It feels like that kind of balance, and I really enjoy that they've done that. If you compare it, it's probably unavoidable to compare it to The Force Unleashed, which was, like, I guess, the last single-player focused Star Wars lightsaber game.
Yeah.
Where that made you like an all-powerful wrecking ball, where the whole point was that you were just like, Darth Vader would just sit, you would be like his sort of right-hand man type of thing. And the whole point was that you would go and just fuck stuff up, and you had all these different abilities. This is like a lot more restrained, and they do an awful lot with just like force push and force pull, and really, and it doesn't feel like a huge cannon coming out of your hand.
It's not like Force Unleashed where you're literally pulling Star Destroyers out of the sky.
Yeah, it's definitely
got a bit
not
more
like
grounded, like nature to it. This one.
It's a really basic mix of stuff, like you were saying, Liam. Like everyone keeps comparing it to Dark Souls because it's got like these really specific Dark Souls elements in it. Like you can open up shortcuts, and it's got
you rest at meditation points.
Exactly. The combat, the big bosses have got health bars, and
there's a lot of dodging, a lot of parrying.
Yeah. If you respawn, all the enemies respawn. If you have a rest, all the enemies respawn, just like Dark Souls. But it also has like the button layout of a Batman Arkham game. It's got an attack, it's got a dodge, it's got a jump, it's got a special triangle force button. So it's really not as simple as saying it's like it's a Souls-like, because it's just not. It is in a lot of ways, but it's also like Batman Arkham or something in a lot of ways. It's so many games that you can compare this to.
Yeah, like I think it does have its own merits to it though. Like I mean, it does take the best of all those aforementioned games, but it does manage to stand on its own two legs as well.
It does. I think the way that they've balanced stuff comes into that in a big way. The way that they've managed to take that idea from one game and go, yeah, that's cool, let's have that. That's cool, let's have that.
Yeah.
We haven't really talked about the characters. There's a couple of surprises in there that I didn't know about that were quite nice. What do you think about the main character himself? And
I think he's good, he strikes me as more of a Han Solo type than sort of like your traditional Jedi. He's not like very reserved or, like concerned with the teachings of the Force. He's more like quippy and, he's ready for a fight at any moment.
But he's got the childlike baby face demeanour of Luke Skywalker as well.
Yeah, so he's got like that child excitement.
Yeah, and he's sort of, I thought he was a bit of a dweeb, like in the marketing and stuff. And I thought for the first few hours, I was like, oh, I'm not sure if I like this guy, but I did warm to him. Yeah. Like the supporting cast are really cool. Like
BD1 is like the cutest droid ever. There's going to be action figures of him all over the place.
It's good, yeah, exactly. And again, it's like this is good Respawn stuff. It feels to me like EA have gone, guys, can you just make a Star Wars game for us? And they've just taken it and run with it. And every department is good. Like the music is good. The characters are good. At the setup, I'm really, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
I think it's an easy recommendation if you're a Star Wars fan.
Absolutely.
If you're not a Star Wars fan, I guess it depends how much you like games like the, maybe the recent Tomb Raider games or something.
Yeah, well, it's got puzzles in it, hasn't it? And
exactly.
They were very reminiscent of the Tomb Raider, like Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider puzzles. Yeah. I mean, they even call them tombs, don't they?
Yeah.
It's like, but yeah, they're still good, and there's a lot of influence, but yeah, still manages to be its own thing at the same time.
I think the bottom line for me is that I'm a Star Wars fan. I've been desperate for a Star Wars game for so long, and the fact that they've managed to deliver one that isn't disappointing in any way. This is in no way disappointing. I'm not sitting here going, this is Game of the Year material. This is like, wow, this is one of the best Star Wars games I've ever played. I'd probably hesitate to say that. Maybe it'll grow in my mind to be that, but at the moment, I'm just really happy that it's a solid Star Wars experience. You mentioned the lightsaber animations and the sound design and all that. It's so good. It's just pressing the square button and waving the lightsaber. It's just very satisfying. I think the controls are a little bit like, and the animation and things are a little bit sort of, I don't know how to quite put it. It doesn't feel like as sharp and precise as like a Souls game. Did you notice that? Did you feel like it's a little bit?
Yeah, it's like, it's not quite as, like you said, precise, but it's not floaty either.
No.
It's like, it reminded me more something like, I want to say Red Dead, but obviously not with like the massive input lag that everyone associates with Red Dead. It's definitely more responsive than that.
It's more in, but I know I definitely.
But
it's
they
a good
feel
comparison.
weighty.
It's a good comparison. It's more in that department, isn't it? And it comes down to like cancelling your actions and stuff. If you press L1, you're gonna block. Like there's nothing you can do about it. You've committed to do. So for a long time, for example, for me, if you used to play a lot of The Witcher, you can hold block and attack from the block.
Yeah.
So you can hold L1 or whatever the block button is, and press attack, and you'll still attack. But that you can't do that in this. So you have to choose your actions carefully, and the animation's got a bit of a lead in. But once you're sort of acclimatized to all that, I think it makes a lot of sense. I think Respawn are just a great studio, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely, they are a great studio. I mean, like, there's so much variety in this game as well. Lots of customization is there if you want it.
Yeah.
Skill trees there if you want to spec your character out in a certain way. But yeah, it's just like Respawn. I don't think they've done any wrong at the minute, have they?
No, and it's really impressive that they're a first-person shooter studio that have come from a first-person shooter background. Mm-hmm. They have first-person shooter. This is like a side project in some ways, I guess. Yeah. They've got a very successful battle royale shooter and stuff in Apex Legends, and then they've just sort of done this as well. It's very impressive.
It is. After this, I can see like Respawn maybe becoming EA's go-to single-player guys. Especially after like the Titanfall 2 campaign that was like so well received as well. I reckon the Star Wars license, if you keep giving it to Respawn, it's in good hands.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that if this kind of thing had been happening alongside Battlefront for maybe...
if this was like a companion piece, it would have been so much better. People would have been a lot happier back then.
So that's what we think of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. If you've been playing it, let us know down in the comments. If you haven't and you're a Star Wars fan, let us know what's been putting you off picking it up as well. Remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. We'll speak to you very soon. Bye.